Uh, this is a reaction to what is going on the signing, on the public participation. Yeah, I think I can call it public participation. Whether it is signing or anything, I don't know because I've not been there. But today I wanted to talk something about the apparent differences in ideas between Morara and Kasamuel. I wanted to say that, and it happened during the public participation, and so on and so on. As things go on happening, we get to understand and read things the way they are. They say that history repeats itself. And when I talked, some Gen Zs said that I've been paid, I've been whatever, but that was the truth. And those things are now coming. I don't know where to start, but I'll start anywhere. I would say that the opinion of public participation appear to be directly opposite between Morara and Kasamuel. Now, what I'm seeing is that as time goes on, other participants, other Gen Z leaders will take different ways. I've said in a recording before, and I'll repeat it now, that since when I was young, actually the first time I registered as a voter was 1979 when I was 18 years. So I've gone through all the elections between 1979 and now. We can count that offline. This is what usually happens. Young people, fresh from school, come out. They say, we are now not leaders of tomorrow. We are going to be whatever, whatever. Once the elections are appearing, once the elections come near, they now rush to the cocoons, mostly tribal, mostly tribal. I'm not saying all of them. But then again, a good number of retreating is also done on monetary gains, and it is also done on political grounds. Now I hear Morara has started a political party called Injection. He has everything that even today, if he decides to stop his human whatever he has collected through M-Pesa is enough to push him. And you see these lawyers from time ago, where Kina James Orengo, we have lawyers who are called criminal lawyers. These are the poorest of the poor lawyers. Usually, when it comes to money, they don't have. But we have these people called conveyance lawyers. Now, conveyance lawyers are the richest lawyers in the law world. For example, you are selling a house, such as KICC. You are selling a house such as Times Tower. You are selling a house such as, name them. I would not be shocked if I'm told that KICC is worth $1 billion shillings. Now, for that transaction, that property, where you're transferring property from one individual to another individual, you get, is it 1% of the value of the land? Now, if someone is buying land in Elwak and another one is buying land in the CBD Nairobi, the lawyer gets 1% of Elwak, and I think Elwak an acre is about $500,000, so 1% of that, and maybe KICC is 1 billion. So that is how many? Is it 20 times in the same transaction, which is just say that this land is being transferred from left to right. So you find that this conveyance lawyers are the richest, but these political criminal lawyers are the people who are in publicity, and they are very poor, as not compared to me, but compared to other lawyers. This is what usually happens: is after they have done their conveyance. I mean, when once they not a conveyance, when they have dealt with somebody, a criminal in court, you'll find that the criminal has not paid everything. The not okay, not criminal. The suspect has not paid everything. The lawyers are called criminal lawyers. That is where I slipped. But the person in court is a suspect or an accused. When you are at the police station, you are a suspect. But when you reach the court, you become an accused. And when you go to prison, you become a convict. So this suspect approaches a criminal lawyer. When you approach a criminal lawyer, you pay a you pay a down payment. And when you pay a down payment, when you lose the case, the lawyer does not even come to, how can he come to demand the money when you are in jail? And when, so you find you may win a case. Okay, you win a case. When you win the case and go home. And then the lawyer comes to you and says, Sina pesa, can you sue me? Now, how can the lawyer sue you using 500,000 shillings to take a case to court and whatever, and waste time when the lawyer just needs 300 from you? So there's so much money for criminal lawyers out there that is unclaimed. But most lawyers who want to become politicians start off as criminal lawyer because they are always in the news. So Cabasso, the Morara, sorry, there are so many conflicting information that he never completed his law school. Others are okay. Let us assume that he is a lawyer. Let us assume that he's a lawyer. Uh, he would use that whatever he's doing to uplift his law firm, and I've already said he has uplifted his M-Pesa account. Now let us stop from there. Let us now come to Gene C. Gene C, the first signs of cracks are there, even though when Morara was arrested, Kasamuel went to the police station, and when he was being asked, why are you here? He said, we may not have the same opinion on matters of Gashagwa, but any GNC being arrested, we have to collectively come to it. That is okay. Now, you see they are divided that way. And as time goes on, because one thing is GNC does not have a figurative figure, a leader. But then, even if they don't have a leader, figurative or in real, but there are those people we can assume that they are their leaders. We have Kasamuel, we have Morara, we have this lawyer with a funny name, and so on and so forth. But then you can see that Morara has used that opportunity to register a political party. As time goes on, these people will now either withdraw to their people or to get money, or even they'll use the fame that came up with Gene C, that the fame that came up with Gene C that that now they'll go to people and say, okay, let's say they go to you, what do you call UDA, says if you give me something, oh, these people are saying behind me, they'll side with UDA and other parties and so on and so forth. So you find that that is how they'll go. If the whole problem that was there with Gene C would have happened during a few months to election, things would be bad. But then, as things may be sounding good for Ruto and Gachagua and Ruto, there's every passing moment they seem to be moving apart and apart and apart. nobody wants to blink fast. And it is dangerous because on such occasion you find that even if you win, you lose. And if you win, you lose, because assuming that Ruto wins and then the next election he wins again, it means that he has lost a very big constituency in the mountain, especially in the mountain. But then again, I've seen people the way they have been talking on TV and interviews and whatever. We Kenyans are protesting people. We are protesting people. We always want to side with the victim, and with victim I place their inverted commas. We like going with the victim. You'll find that young people from other areas or even middle class, they are just siding with the Gachagua, not because Gachagua has been turned from Saul to Paul. No, it is. I remember a friend of mine. I'll not mention his name, but whose father was my father's rank mate and age mate, and even they got superintendent together. He's recently started siding with the Gachagua, and he said anybody who is anti-government, he will always side with that person. So you find that those people, Kenyans have even forgotten that this tribalistic person who was talking of shares and whatever, they have forgotten that, and they want that. So you find that in that confusion, which I foresee the long run, Ruto winning, but he will win while he has been unajua kuna kushinda ingine unatoka huko. If you are a fan of wrestling, you may be seeing something that has to do with somebody winning, lakini while walking out of the ring to the dressing room, he limps. That is how Ruto will win, and he will limp. Even though in the 2027, in the absence of Raila, he will, but I don't like such wins. The good win is the win that you have a good competitor who is non-tribal and you argue on reasons. And I would also, people have accused me of being pro-Ruto, being paid and whatever. I wish it was that way, and I wish I would have even visited him for my payments. Because if he's supposed to pay me and he has not paid me, I think it is something. Hata kama ni kamia is something. I would tell Ruto that I think he should change his way of handling things. Politicians, general, all politicians, name them. A politician would promise you something. He'd come to where you are staying and say, hii barabara yote kutoka mwisho mpaka mwisho nitaweka lami. And then in the evening, you ask him, is there a place you had promised to weka lami? It said he had forgotten, even before reaching his office. And Ruto is becoming what do you call, a politician squared. Or is it a double politician? I think squared is better. Because some of these things, you see, we Kenyans, me included, we Kenyans are people who you do as 95%. It's Jimmy Carter who once said that in 1978, that there are those politicians where you do 95%. They don't see the 95% you have done. They look at the 5% you have not done. And some of the promises that Ruto is giving are just the way too high. I'll give the examples of university. I'll also give the example of hospital insurance. Crawl and then walk. Crawl and then walk. You see, these things that you are doing drastically, if it works, people will say, after all, that is your mandate. But if it fails, of which is 5%, people will look at that and always remember that. I remember last year. Now I don't know why I don't this thing to do with the help. Last year, people looked at it. People looked at help And they said it, they told the government that the thing is too ambitious. People said it is too ambitious. And down the road, 1 or 2 years later, you'll find that the government cannot finance this help thing. It is too overambitious. They were told that. And what they said that any student joining the university using this any student using this four what do we call 4 stages or something, uh, he or she will continue with those 4 stages until he or she graduates. Now, if there is to be any adjustment, it will only affect those who are joining new. Now, you have gone to people who are paying 20,000. You have just told them in 3 hours. That is after checking with after applying. You see, the help is every year you apply afresh. Now, I don't know. Ruto, were you trying to trick people into that? Because you talked well when you said that, the former system, a university could invite 100 students, but you find those who report are 75% and those who graduate are 60%. So universities used to get all funds for the 100% for 4 years. But you find that a quick calculation of being called 75, no, being called 100, those who report are 75, those who graduate are 66, you'll find that it is equivalent to, uh, let's say, 75%, not even 60%, or even 70%. I'm trying to think while talking. 70%, if the 70% were called and 70% graduated, that is what averagely comes to that. That is an estimate or a figure I've just given for the purpose of debating. Now, you said that that system was there to assist somebody. It was to assist somebody, and it was assist the government. It was to assist the government to do what? It was to assist the government to know when are the students dropping out and not overpaying. But was it a trick now to cheat students to join so that first year they are paid 20,000, 21,000? I'm talking of Bachelor of Education, Science. They paid 21,000 first year. Second year, you are telling them to pay 73,000. Third year, you may tell them to pay 100,000. Uh, towards God, that is bad. I know of somebody who was supposed to join the military as a cadet officer. He decided to graduate first so that he joins the military as a cadet officer graduate. Now, for such a person, now telling him or her that she or him have spent a year useless because the second year they can't afford whatever. That one student comes from a village, and that village has 50 or 70 votes. So and Ruto's greatest problem, to me, that is what I believe. Eh, watoto wa siku hizi wako tofauti, not watoto like our age. Our fathers, our parents, especially fathers, those days mothers didn't work. Baba akiondoka unamuuliza, you want to go with him, lakini mama anakukatalia. And then baba anakupromise atakuletea sweet. Sweet, yeah. Then you leave him, because if you detain him, he'll not buy sweet. But when he comes back in the evening, either you'll be asleep or you'll have forgotten, or both. But watoto wa siku hizi, I see kids nikitoka, Guka, unaenda wapi? Unaenda job sijui nini, utaniletea yogurt. And then when I come back without yogurt, I have to cheat them that haziko kwa duka. So Ruto has that element of promising something, and then at the end of the meeting, he forgets. And he wants everybody to forget. That is something that I've noticed with him. But the student who wanted to join the military, but decided first of all to graduate because he was told he'll be paying 21,000, and the family knew that they could afford 21. Now, somebody with a kid in second will say, why complain of 21,000 for a university student? Let me tell you this. I know a government, what we call extra county schools, pay 35,000 shillings per year. Now, how comes that I'm complaining about 21,000? This student just goes to a lecture room, and where he or she sleeps, where he or she eats and whatever. So it is the household. After paying 21,000, the household has to pay for hostel. And if you find hostels, let me give you an example. Just one example. Kisii University. Second years are 7,000. First year are 7,000. That is around 15,000. Third year and fourth year, you make it 20,000. How many hostels are there run by the university? 1,000. 1,000. Someone told me 700. Now, all other students have to look for private arrangements, and the parents have to pay for the 8 months of the 2 semesters, and the parents have to pay the rent for the 4 months that the students are end of the year. Because when the year ends, the student stays at home for 4 months. But where he or she has left his or her furnitures, you still pay for that, and it is outside the campus. The student, you have to buy him or her meko. You have to send him money to be cooking for himself or herself for all that time. Now, that information is for somebody who has no student in the university, asking why we are complaining that the students are paying 21,000, and yet when they were doing their form 4, they were paying 35,000. It is because they rent out there. The arrangement of renting is between the student and the hostel owner. And you pay for the 12 months, including the 4 months that the student is at home. The student, anything the student buys, food, whatever, sugar, money comes from the household. So that is why we are saying that even the 21 is a lot, because the parents have to, the household has to pay for that. Now you reach somewhere, tell that student that second year is going to pay 73, and then from there you again tell the student the idea that is going to pay 100 and so on. Even I know you are a very religious person, even before God, that is a sin. We come to the medicine, NHIF. You can see what is happening. I'm thankful to the Almighty that nobody has died or anything. But then let me tell you, sincerely speaking, 2027, those patients who have gone to the hospital and they have been told, no, we are not going to treat you. Can you produce 14,000 shillings or 70,000 shillings? A person who thought that they will just give out the NHIF and pay nothing. They are told before you enter the hospital, pay 70,000. Mr. Ruto, think about that. That is what I'm saying, that it happens that way. And since you'll be running a one-man, what do you call, one-man show in 2027, even before God, because you are a CU official from Form 1, look into that. When you promised students that they'll continue paying that up to the time they complete, just keep your promise. Keep your promise. Leave alone the athlete. The best judge is there. And mambo ya hospitali, also the people who are suffering. Why didn't you just there's a time I remember just before COVID, you people started this universal whatever hospital or whatever, and there were some districts which were, I remember Kiambu was one of them. I remember Kiambu was one of them, and others. Uh, why didn't you start SHA with pilot counties? This thing of waking up in the morning, it is really bad. But as I said, and the purpose of this video is to say that as we continue towards the elections, you'll find a lot of these youthful people who are on the forefront. They used to be there. We used to have them during 1979. Say, vijana wamekuja saa wana ukabila. But I can tell you that as we continue to approach the next election, these people will now go towards the political leanings of their home area, and they will be not necessarily be bought, but they will just swing to those places. After all, many of them would want to join politics at their various levels, and they'll find that the only best way to join that is to align yourself with the local political alignment. Thank you.